Hello and welcome to Athena's Creations 2017. I'm Athena Turk, independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator since 2017. Welcome to my YouTube channel and my live in Athena's Creations on Facebook. This evening I've got 4 amazing cards, a fun fold, and some new embossing folders to share, and even a little bit of new that will be coming in the fall catalog, which I'm very excited about. If you're a demonstrator, you get to do what's called a Creativity Now, which is in 2 weeks, and we got to pre-order and we got the instructions. Oops, sorry about that. Spot, it's okay. Oh, I should have shut my door, but he's our special guest tonight. Anyway, he loves to let me know that there's people walking in. He looks at me like, we should be walking, but it gets dark later, so it's okay, Spot. It's okay. Anyway, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Like I said, I've got a fun, new to me, fun fold, and I'm going to turn the camera down, and then while you're looking at all the goodies on my desk, I'm going to see about getting the little guy quiet for a minute. Maybe I can get him his little Kong toy, and then hopefully he won't be barking, because this is the time when we have a lot of people walk by and he wants to let everybody know in the neighborhood that he's, you know, even though he's a little guy. But anyway, thank you so much for joining me. We're going to feature probably one of my favorite standalone stamp sets. I love all of the sentiments. I love the two-step stamping. I love that it's photopolymer. I've used it a couple of times on other cards, and I just find myself using a lot of these sentiments as kind of a go-to. That's a cute little bumblebee there. And then, of course, I've got some new products to share. There's a sweet sale going on, and it's sweet indeed. It's buy one, get one 50% off. So if you have any questions, just reach out and I'll be happy to help you with that. It's a special that's going to be going on all through the month of June. And every month there's something new coming out. And so we also got to pre-order some new online exclusives that will be here next month. And I'm working on some cards from that. But this is the standalone stamp set that we're going to be featuring tonight. 4 fabulous cards. The very first one tonight, if you want to stamp along and learn how to make this fun fold that has dimension to it, but it folds flat for mailing. It's called a pop-out. I think I wrote that down. It's a pop-out fun fold. I'll find the correct name for it here in a minute. But I'm going to show you how to make this, my version of it. And we're going to be using the dies from the Piece on Earth, which will be available to everybody in the new winter catalog or Christmas catalog. My favorite catalog, the fall one. We got to pre-order this one for Creativity Now. I'm going to use a die from here and the Big Hugs. And as you'll see when I point the camera down, there are sentiments on there for every day. For Christmas, yes, but this is also a stamp set I think that you can use year-round. So I think they really did a great job with that one. So let's go ahead and get started and get your trimmer and your cardstock piece out. And you can do some fun fold cards with me, any color that you have. And then, of course, you can go back and replay this later if I go too quickly or you're miss a step, or you know, you had to step away or something. But again, thank you so much for joining me tonight, and we will go ahead and give me a second here as I bring the camera down, as I so elegantly do every week. Haha. I say that in jest because even after doing this since 2020, I guess, you would think I would have this all figured out, but I do a live for y'all once a week, and then I upload it later to YouTube. And the rest of the time I play, and I try to play with cards and learn techniques to share with all of you, because I'm forever learning fun new things, and I always like to share with y'all when I do that. We're going to use the You Are Remarkable stamp set. If you don't have this one, I definitely recommend you get this one. Friends are flowers in the garden of life. You are remarkable in every single way. We've got some two-step stamping, cute little bumblebee that's buzzing. Sometimes the simplest things mean the most. So I've used this one on several different stamped images, and I have quite a few on blocks. And I love the different things that you can do with the stamp set, intermingle with all the other amazing products that Stampin' Up! Has. It's basically your one-stop shop, in my opinion. I participated in a demonstrator-only swap last month, and my friend Charlotte had come up with this design, and using that new suite that is also part of that buy one, get one 50% off. And there's some tricks to getting your best deal on that one. So if you have any questions, please reach out. I'll be happy to help you. And this, believe it or not, is a really easy fold. And I thought I wrote down the name of this fold. Pop-up pillar card. That's right, Pillar. Pop-up pillar card. And there's so many different folds like this one out there. I'm going to share with you just how easy that is to make. Now we're going to be using the brand new from that same suite of product in the annual catalog, Flower Accents. Sadly, this one is not available until I think July. There's 70 in this little packet, and when I got that this week, I couldn't believe how shiny these are. I mean, I really want more of these. That's gorgeous. Now, based off of her, Charlotte's card, this was the one that I came up with. So that's one of the things about stamping when you have wonderful crafting friends that are willing to participate in different demonstrator events like swaps. Then you get to come up with your own ideas using a fun fold. And I didn't know how to do this fun fold until I got the swap, and I reached out to Charlotte, and she was gracious enough to give me the measurements, which I have right here. It's a pop-up pillar card. May not be able to see that yellow on yellow. Let's see if we can bring it up there. For those of you that want to do a quick screenshot, you can. And then, of course, I will read out all of the instructions. So you're going to you get your card base out. Your card base, normally cardstock is 8.5 by 11. And what you're going to do is on the 8.5 inch side, you're going to cut it to 8 1/4. So there's going to be a little sliver of paper. Then you're going to turn it on the 11 inch side and cut it at 5.5. And then you're going to put it in the 8 1/4 inch side. And then you're going to score it at 1/2 inch, which is right here. And then at 2 inches, 2.5 inches, and then at 4 inches. Again, you're going to put your cardstock piece in that's 8 1/4 by 5.5. The 8 1/4 inch side, you're going to score at 1/2 inch, 2 inches, 2.5, and 4. Now we've got some cardstock pieces and this gorgeous ribbon. It's probably my favorite ribbon so far. I have a feeling, unless I see something really spectacular in the fall Christmas, this might be my go-to ribbon. Gorgeous, gorgeous gold. Love it. So we've got 2 strips of designer paper that is 5 1/4 by 1 1/4. And then we have the layering cardstock piece. It's going to be the focal point of the front. This is 4 by 2 3/4, and then we have a layering piece. It's that same beautiful paper. We just flip it over, and that is 3 3/4 by 2.5. Pardon me. And this is how fun this card is. We're just going to go ahead and burnish all of those score lines using our bone folder. There are so many fun folds out there, and I'm constantly learning a new one. I try to learn at least one new one a month. That's my goal. Sometimes it's one a week. It really just depends on how busy, life gets sometimes. But I do try to step out of my comfort zone and learn some new folds. There's that one. And every time I learn a new fold, I like to share, because caring is sharing. Isn't that what they say? Caring is sharing. Or sharing is caring. we go. All right, so now that you've got all of those creases all burnished, you're basically going to fold this tiny little piece is going to fold all the way in like that. See how easy this is? And it's a really cool one of those that just will jump out at you when you receive it in the mail, and it will fold flat. So before you start adhering, you just want to make sure that you go back over it, because this is when it's going to fold and then it's going to pop out. All right? Okay. And it's going to be able to lay flat for mailing. Okay. All right, so what I want to do, we always want to do our stamping first. Oh, I've got that right over here to my right. I thought I'd normally have everything right here, handy dandy. And so this die cut piece is from the bundle Peace on Earth. It's actually a suite. Like I said, we were able to pre-order it. Oops, where'd I put it? And it's a layering piece that looks really nice. We've got some doves. And I've already checked the die cuts do not fit the designer paper, but you can always fussy cut them. There's a lot that you can do with this one. And I started to play with this one a little bit. And I love new stuff. And like I said, I've been playing with this one for a while, using it and incorporating it with other stamps projects that I've been doing, but I keep getting distracted when I get a new order. Does anybody else get distracted, or is it just me? So we're going to use that one for the big hugs, and that's the sentiment from this one as well. Big hugs for a good friend. So yes, we've got some Christmas sentiments, but we've potentially got a Valentine's, and we've got sympathy, heartfelt prayers, all the best, wishing you all the best in your new adventure, sending peace, love, and joy, sending love, sending heartfelt prayers. There's a lot of different things that you can do with this one, and I'm very excited to start playing with that new one. But I've got 4 cards, and let's go ahead and get started. If you've already cut your paper, now we can, and you've already burnished all the folds, this little piece right here, you're going to leave alone. The first designer paper is going to go on this piece right here, right next to it. So you can go ahead and adhere that down. I always like to hold one side. That's not doing what I want it to do for some reason. Let's try that one more time. I'm trying to find that sweet spot. Oh, my puppy heard me say his name. He's a sweet spot puppy. All right, so you just want to find that sweet spot where it is kind of centered as much as possible. Liquid glue is your best bet because you have some wiggle room with the liquid glue, whereas some of the other adhesives, once it's down, if you try to move it, it'll tear your paper. So just be aware of that. And then you're going to go ahead, and then this piece, long piece right here is where the other piece of designer paper is going to go. I hold down one side, lift up the flap, and start putting your adhesive down. Just like that. So once you've got it all ready to go, it's so easy. Now you notice, even though it's going to be in like a box-like form, you want to make sure that these pieces are folded over, because it's going to, like I said, it's going to fold flat for mailing. This piece, this tiny little 1/2 inch, is the only part that you're going to apply your adhesive. And I'm just going to fold it over flat, because then when you open it, there you have it. Super easy, right? Next, we're going to go ahead and adhere this piece together. Find that sweet spot there. Hold down one side. Unless you're using liquid glue, then you can maneuver it. Has more maneuverability if you need to. And then just add your adhesive. And then we're going to get the stamp, Big Hugs for a Good Friend. Here it is. And I love that it's photopolymer. You can see exactly where you're stamping. That doesn't look like it's got enough ink. Let's just try that one more time. And if you mess up, you can always flip it over. Then you, of course, apply enough pressure. Let that ink soak into your cardstock. Beautiful. And then this one we're going to put on dimensionals, but before we finish that, we are going to get our beautiful ribbon here. I'm just going to stagger these out. You can put as many as you want. 3 is plenty. Okay. And I'm going to just add a little, like a 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch adhesive. And I'm just going to have 2 pieces here. They are measured approximately 5 inches, 4.5. Okay. And the reason why I did that is because I'm going to fold it so that it kind of is staggered out, if that makes sense. Okay. And if you need to add a little bit more, oh, there's plenty. The same thing, you want to stagger this one out so that you have a fold. Kind of looks strange. But this one's going to go on top now. I don't like how that looked. I don't think I have enough ribbon showing, so I'm going to kind of maneuver it just a little bit. Hopefully that made a difference. Because you want a little bit of that ribbon to show, some of that really nice glimmer. And I'm just going to redo this one. Let's just go like that. All right, and we want a little bit of a fold there. I'm going to add just a tiny bit more of adhesive. So you just maneuver your ribbon until you have it exactly how you want it. You can see I've just been kind of messing with it a couple of different ways because I want more of that to show. Pretty sure that's what I did with this one. Now I'm second guessing myself. There we go. All right. That looks much better. So now we can go ahead and take off the little dimensional backing. And if you were gonna cut your cardstock and you joined us a little bit later, you can go back and do the good old rewind and just find that sweet spot there. So again, you want some of that ribbon coming out, but you don't want too much ribbon, right? And then before we adhere this, remember it's only going to be a little bit of the panel, okay, that we're going to put the adhesive. So what I'm going to do is find that what I call the sweet spot where I want it to land on the page here. And I'm going to put my thumb and finger so I know to stay within those boundaries. And again, you want it to look as centered as possible. And so that now we have our card completed. Now, of course, if you had like beautiful Misty Moonlight or Night of Navy, or even the new Secret Sea, it's really beautiful dark cardstock, you would need a piece on the inside. And I would recommend a 3 1/4 by 5 1/4. But since this is beautiful lemon lolly, we definitely don't need to worry about that. There's plenty of room to write. And then, of course, the final touch for this one, like I mentioned earlier, is this gorgeous new flower accents that's available in the new annual catalog. I kind of wish I got more than one. This is beautiful. This is probably going to be my go-to for Christmas. That's gorgeous. See how easy that is to make that card with this fun fold? This is the pop-up pillar card. One more time if you want to do a quick screenshot. And for my Facebook, Athena's Creations, I will post all the still shots later with all of the card names, dimensions, but this was my inspiration. That's for card number 1. Now our next card is featuring a brand new embossing folder that is going to be available next month in July for the online exclusives. And there's even some Christmas. I am very selective on what I order, and I didn't order any Christmas yet. But when I saw this, I had to get it. And so it's huge, you guys. It is huge. So this is one of those big folders that you could literally put 2 pieces or a half a thing of cardstock, and you can get 2 bases out of it and run it through one time very quickly. So this is really, really gorgeous. And of course, it's Sunflower 3D embossing folder. Again, using the gorgeous ribbon. This is, again, that's my go-to ribbon. Absolutely gorgeous. Beautiful color. All the pretty golden shimmer. And then we've got an Athena original. This is my own idea. Again, I just absolutely love this stamp set. You Are Remarkable. 2-step stamping. We've got lots going on. Now, this frame is from the new, let me make sure I get the correct name here, Impressions of Bloom, which is part of the Sweet collection that you can buy one, get the second 50% off. Friends are flowers in the garden of life. Now, granted, I didn't need to put anything extra on the inside, but I just, like I said, I love the 2-step stamping, and I just want to show off more of the stamp set this way. And really and truly, the way this card base is, if you wanted, you probably could have run it, or I could have probably run it through like this, and it would have worked out just fine. But sometimes, because I've got this beautiful ribbon, I wanted to show you some fun things that you can do with it. So I went ahead and got an extra piece, which is the same measurement as the front of the card, 4 1/4 by 5 1/4. No, 5 1/2. 5 1/2. So I've already die cut that one out that we're going to stamp on in a minute. This is gorgeous, right? Daffodil Delight. And you literally can have it any direction that you want. And it's going to layer on top of our card base, which is 11 by 4 1/4, scored at 5 1/2. Beautiful, bright. I just think that Daffodil Delight is the color for this You Are Remarkable stamp set. One of my favorites. It's kind of one of those that once it retires eventually or becomes unavailable, I'm still going to use it. It's one of those I love. Love, love, love. Okay, so let me show you a trick with the ribbon. So this piece is approximately 13, 15 inches approximately, something like that. And we are going to wrap it around the embossing folder, and then we're going to attach it to the front as a card base. I keep getting tilted for some reason. 1 second, I gotta get a drink. All right. So basically, I want my card front to look just like this, which I guess is a little bit different than this one. But don't you just love that? What I'm going to do is I'm going to get the ribbon so that it's, let's see, lines up together like that, okay? And then it's an approximation. I'm just going to kind of walk it down a tiny bit, somewhat in the middle. Doesn't have to be perfect. And then what I'm going to do is I'm using my pinky to hold it down, right? And I'm going to do like a knot, basically. Okay, so here's my knot. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw in a glue dot in just a minute. But put my middle finger there, and then I'm going to make a little loop. And then I'm going to bring this around to tie it. And as I've brought that one around, let me try that one more time. I'm trying to speak as I'm doing this, and I realize I got quiet. I'm going to make basically 2 bunny ears. That's what I meant to say. And then we're going to bring this top loop and tuck it under. And then pull it through. And there's our little bow there. Okay. Now the reason I did that is because this, I wanted to have this tucked under. And then you just kind of, I want it to be symmetrically straight as much as possible. Then you just like tug at each end here until you get the bow that you want. And I like that. That looks good. So we can go ahead and we're going to adhere this one to the card front. It's the same all the way around. And I lift up one side, apply adhesive. Oops, gotta be careful. Love this Stampin' Seal that we have. It's great adhesive. You just have to make sure it doesn't get off the track like this one just did. Yikers. So before you use it again, we need to get it back on the track. Hold on. Get that back on the track. I'm gonna try to salvage it. Because I'm sure this has probably happened to y'all before too. There's quite a bit of this tape left. I'm getting some sticky on my fingers. Seems like I have been having issues the past couple of lives, and I tried last week and I cannot figure out how to go through once you save your live. I haven't figured out how I can edit it so that I can, you know, get rid of some of that dead space or speed up like this part. So if you've got expertise, I would love to get some help with that. Otherwise, I guess I'll load it up. Okay, so it's back on the track. Let's hope that works. Okay. I don't know what I did wrong, but oh, hopefully this works. Okay, got little stickies, but I'm gonna advance it. Oh, thank you, Lord. I think it's gonna work. Yay! Okay, so you just have to be careful and maneuver it and then try to get those little pieces off. Okay, so we should be good on that. All right, so that's our card front. Now we're gonna go ahead and do some fun stamping, which is what we're here to do. New Sunflower 3D embossing folder. I'm thinking that there's going to be some beautiful fall cards that this will go with, y'all. I think that's part of the thinking behind that. This is really, really pretty. And it's huge. It's one of the big ones. I remember when I first saw the embossing folders a year ago, I thought, what in the world? But you can actually get 2 pieces. And so run it through one time and voila. Okay, so let's go ahead and do our stamping for this piece here, which again, this is from the online exclusive Impressions of Bloom. This was the latest online release, this piece right here. You can see I've used this one quite a few times, so I love this piece here. I try to incorporate different products from different stamp sets and suites and things like that. All right, so for this stamp set, we've got this big block here, which is really, really cute. However, I've got these pieces here. Now what I'm gonna do, you can see I've used this paper for it. I'm gonna use this piece right here, and Old Olive is the green color. You could probably use Garden Green would work. Maybe even your, well, Mossy Meadow might work actually. All right, so again, we're using this piece here. That's that big one. Beautiful, beautiful flowers. When I saw that embossing folder, I knew immediately I wanted to use this stamp set. Just kind of do a little angle. And I think it's supposed to look that way. Oops, got some ink on my finger. And then just a little bit down here. All right, so that's that piece there. Then we're going to come in with the flower top and Daffodil Delight. You could probably use your crushed curry if you have that. Lemon Lolly you can certainly use. I just happen to love this Daffodil Delight color. Then this one, like right there at the top. And voila. And then we're going to come in with Pecan Pie for that centerpiece. And if you see the difference when you stamp on and stamp off, it's a little bit lighter. This one I'm just going to stamp right there in the middle. Okay. Since we're using ribbon, I'm only going to use one of these sweet little tiny bee trinkets. Absolutely adorable. Super cute and tiny. So I'm going to get what I'm calling the flat adhesive dots for that one. First, let's stamp this cute little bumblebee that we have. Because the bumblebee is going to be like right up here at the top. Super cute, right? Love that. All right. Now I like to use these flat adhesive dots because it's the perfect place and size. It's smaller than a glue dot, in other words. I'm going to open this up, and I'm going to use the gummy side of my Take Your Pick tool, and I'm going to pick it up. I'm going to place it right on top of that flat adhesive dots. Perfect. And so there's 40 in here, and you can see I've used them on a few projects. Super cute, right? You could do the dimensionals, but I'm just going to adhere it right straight down to the card. And yay, I saved that roller by taking a couple of minutes to do that. Okay. Because that's happened to us a time and again, right? Or on occasion it's happened. So now, even though we don't need that second piece, I do want to stamp and use more of that stamp set. Like I said, it's really, really cute. So this one, I'll bring that in one more time. We're going to do the two-step stamping on this one. We've got this gorgeous piece right here that we're going to use our Memento ink on. Got some sticky somewhere. Yep, there's a piece of sticky right there. All right, you just roll it up. All right. And then you're just going to kind of give it a little bit of an angle and then press down to let that ink soak in. cute. All right. Next, we're going to come in with our old olive again. I'm going to show you how you can line this up. It's really cool. Just like that. Cute. And the great thing about this one, you don't have to have it line up perfectly. It just gives it that dimension because every flower is different. Just remember that. We're not doing this for perfection. We're doing this just for fun. All right. And come back in with our daffodil. Two-step stamp to fill it in. Voila. And it almost looks like the wind was blowing the flower there, see? And then again, we want to bring in our little bumblebee because it's super, super cute. Tap, tap, tap. Coming in to get that nectar. Cute, 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 cute. Okay. And of course, friends, our flowers in the Garden of Life. Again, a favorite of mine. Oh, so pretty. So yes, another Athena original. I love that. Lots of inspiration out there, of course. The stamp set's been available for a while, but I order things and then new things are available and I get distracted. So I meant to showcase this a couple weeks back. I just, like I said, I got distracted. Because they're always coming out with great new stamp sets. Oh, I got some color in there. Oh, well, that's okay. Every card is different and unique. I still like it. And I wonder, we could probably put some color in the middle, but I kind of like it to be just a tad different than the front. What do y'all think? Oh, I love it. That's card number 2. On to card number 3. This one I'm going to share with you a technique and how to save your paper. If you're like me, you want to make sure you're using the entire real estate of all of your paper. Another Athena original, Friends or Flowers in the Garden of Life. We're using 3 of those cute little bumblebees. And then this one, I could have added the layer, but I thought I would just stamp directly to the card so you can kind of see that no matter what you decide to do, they both look great. Okay? So if it's a light colored cardstock like this Lemon Lolly, it certainly would work just fine. Or actually, this one's not Lemon Lolly. I apologize. The first card was Lemon Lolly. This one's Daffodil Delight. All right. So when you're cutting your paper, this is just a regular A2 card, not a fancy fold or anything like that. But we're doing some fancy stuff to layer. And when you're layering with cardstock, as we all know, cardstock went up just a little bit. Well, maybe a lot, but yeah, a little bit. And so I'm always trying to think of great ways to save paper, to utilize paper so that I'm not using too much paper, I'm not wasting paper. And when you're layering like this, the best thing to do is utilize what you can. And so that's what I did. I did the die cut. So I don't know if I'll use this, but I have 2 possible layering pieces for another card later, right? So I definitely wanted to make sure that I did a die cut piece. And then the next one, same thing. Die cut out the middle, which was this piece here. Okay, so we've got one sheet that we're utilizing for the layering, but we're also utilizing the real estate inside of it. So hopefully that makes sense, right? Let me just think about this for a second. Okay, so this one's going to go down first, and then this designer series paper is going to go on top for the layer. Okay, and then we're going to stamp this piece and it's going to layer on top again. I don't remember what the formal thing is called, but saving your cardstock, utilizing it to layer like this, I think is important. And so I wanted to do that, to highlight that for you. Again, it's just one regular sheet that I've die cut out the image on the inside, and then I die cut even more for another possible card later. Now, before we start adhering everything together, let's go ahead and stamp this piece here. Basically using the same color that we did earlier. And we're going to do 3 of them. And instead of ribbon, we're just going to use those sweet little bumblebees. And we're going to angle somewhat on this tiny piece of paper, which I thought I had written down and I realized I didn't. So this white piece is 4 1/8 by, let's see, what is that? 3 7/8. Or excuse me, 2 7/8. So it's 3 back 2. So I'm going to put a little patch of green right there. And we're going to have a patch of green right there. Come back in for a little tiny piece right there. Okay. And then, of course, we've got the same thing going on the inside of our card. And I realized this one's opening left to right. I guess this one is too, yeah. I thought I did something different. So while we have this green out, we're going to go ahead and just stamp it one time, and then we'll put 2 flowers on. All right. I always like to close up my ink pads so that I don't accidentally dip my beautiful paper into it in a place where I don't intend for it to go. All right. So we've got our Daffodil Delight. And flower number 1. Number 2. And partially off number 3. Now, same thing. We've got our daffodil out. So let's put some color or stamp 2 flowers on the inside. I think I might need to re-ink that one. It's kind of light on the color there. And each one's going to be just slightly different, and that's okay. Now we're going to go ahead and come in with our pecan pie. And stamp that middle piece. Oops, I'm going to come back in. There we go. Did I do that for this one? Yes. Had to look because I couldn't remember. Let's see, I didn't put it down all the way. There we go. All right, so now the next step is getting our beige, basic beige. And then this little piece here, I'm not even sure what that would be called. Almost looks like sand. I really got to figure this out. Okay. And we're just going to give a little bit of a, kind of like a background to it. Just like that. And friends are the flowers in the garden of life. I want this one nice and dark. Right at the top. Press that down. Let that ink soak in. Looks great. Now we get to layer. And I'm going to just bring in a little bit. Around the edges. Make sure that's still on the track. Isn't that gorgeous? And it's basically going to center. Gorgeous, right? And then we're going to put this gorgeous paper on top as well. At the same time, I want to give it a little bit of adhesive. Just a tiny bit. So that I can layer it. And then, of course, this is going to go on the top, the front of our card. Now, I just chose that, let's see, what is it called? Postage stamp, I do believe it's called. Yep, no, perennial postage, yeah. I just chose that one because it was one of those I had real handy. And I thought, you know, that looks kind of cool. And we're going to layer it right on the top. Now, I didn't see anybody ask, but let me just let you know. The designer paper is 4 by 5 1/4. And the layering piece is the black, basic black is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. So it's like 2 marks back layered, if that makes sense. Double check the front opening of your card. And this one you can line up because you've got these little tiny squares. So you can kind of see where the best spot is on that one. And we've saved some cardstock. Yay! Now again, we're going to come in with our little flat adhesive dots. And something about, we're going to use those for the little bumblebees, but something about using the basic black to bring out layers just makes it look bigger, it seems. It looks really good, in other words. So we're going to put a bumblebee there. And we're going to put one right over here. And we're going to put one up at the top. Okay. Take off that one. And use our Take Your Pick tool to pick up that little bumblebee. Place it on that tiny flat glue dot. This Take Your Pick tool, I'm on my second one since they first came out, and I guess the screw piece got too loose or something. It kept falling off, and I invested in another one. But it is a tool that I think every crafter, paper crafter, should have. So if you don't have one of those, it's worth investing because it's saved me picking up pieces for the longest time. And there's our card number 3. All right, so the final card with this remarkable stamp set is utilizing the Damask embossing folder. Now, I got just this folder. I didn't get the entire suite or anything like that. I have a lot of flowers and ribbons and all the things, but I love embossing folders, and so I decided to use that on the next card, which is this one. You Are Remarkable Damask embossing folder. The cardstock piece is 4 by 3.5. The Daffodil Delight is 4 1/4 by 3 3/4. And I went ahead and did the embossing already. Isn't that gorgeous? It looks so good. Since I'm using a lot of layers of cardstock, I decided to use our thick cardstock white. And we do still sell that. All right, so we've got this one. We're going to go ahead and layer. Again, it's white on white. It just looks really good, I think. It's kind of like a timeless piece, this embossing folder. And then the white piece is 4 by 3.5, and the Daffodil Delight piece is 4 1/4 by 3 3/4. We're going to stamp on that one, but this one's going to be what I'm calling off-centered a tiny bit. So basically you want this left corner to line up and the right top to line up. Like in the middle, but off-centered. But still on the page. Does that make sense? Okay. Then add your adhesive. And before we finish this card, we're going to set that off to the side so we can do our stamping. Now this one, we are going to bring in the big flower. It's absolutely gorgeous. Love, love, love this flower. Again, my favorite stamp set. And you know, I don't know that it's in the catalog. I think it might be an online exclusive, but that's okay. Even if you have a catalog, you know, I would definitely recommend looking at everything online, because if you don't, you're going to miss out. There's so many options out there available. So we're going to put that one to the left side. Just press it down, let that ink soak in. But yeah, there's a lot of online exclusives, and then stuff that was in a catalog previously may not be in the new catalog, but is still available, and that would be located in the online exclusive. So yeah, definitely check that out. You don't want to miss out. All right, so let's go ahead. We're going to do our two-step stamping. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. It kind of gives your card character. All right, so you're going to find the closest to stamp it on there. Nice. Kind of dark, but it'll lighten up as the color soaks in to the cardstock there. And then we're going to two-step stamp the Daffodil Delight flower. Again, just looking for that sweet spot there. Every time I say spot, my puppy looks over at me. He's waiting for the magic words W-A-L-K or R-U-R-E-A-D-Y. Those are the words that he just stops what he's doing. And he's, oops, so sorry about that. And he's at attention. Oops. I thought I had this figured out, and every week I fiddle with it, but all right. And then it still does that. That's crazy. Crazy. Okay. Oh my goodness. All right. Let's continue on. Now we've got our little, I realized the bumblebee's going the wrong direction, but that's okay. I guess it got its nectar and it's going on to the next. All right, one more time, friends. our flowers in the garden of life. Love, 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 love. Beautiful. All right. If you can't tell, this is one of my favorites. Love, love, love. And so this one, it's going to line up somewhat, but because this one's off-centered, it kind of is deceiving, but it is going to line up. And basically, because the flower can be any position and be fine, I'm going to look where I stamped the friends, and that's going to determine how centered this is. So it's going to be a little more cardstock showing than this one is, but that's because I want this to line up straight on my paper. Does that make sense? And then, of course, if you do stamp it at an angle with this offset of cardstock, it kind of hides that. You can see I've been playing with that new stamp set and the different dies that are available. That's always a lot of fun when you get new product to play with. There we go. Okay. And one more time. I did put 3 on this flower, but gosh, I don't know that I like 3 on the flower. I think maybe 2. Let's see what that looks like. 3 just seems like overkill for some reason. Like, I know I want one here. There we go. So we'll put that. Oops, sorry about that. Well, he ran out to the back to let him know this is his neighborhood. So I have one over here, one over here. Let's just do this one right there. Okay. So we're going to have 2 of these cuties right there. And then the one that's flying away. I just think the 3 is too much. What do you think? I don't know. And plus, look, I'm getting low. I'm going to have to place another order. But those are, I think, on low inventory or temporarily unavailable. Those are super hot, too. So there's that. I didn't do anything on the inside of this one. But, again, absolutely loving all the things you can do with this stamp set. And it's a standalone stamp set. And then there's that new embossing folder. And of course, our fun fold with Lemon Lolly. And that is all of our cards tonight. I am going to fiddle with this device and try to see if I can perfect how I can fix it so that it's not looping off to the side. I can't believe it does that. But this is probably one of my favorites. If you don't have this one, I highly recommend it. Hope you enjoyed tonight, and who knows what we'll do next week. There's so many new fun things to play with. Paper pumpkin kit, all kinds of fun things. So thank you for joining me, and happy stamping.